The entire time on top, they would ask us, how great is it that Ronda Rousey allowed you to be here?
Fighting, clawing my way for about a decade before this, but you know.
At the time, it was annoying, but it really was true. Like, she was the catalyst for what women's MMA is now.
Do most fighters just like squash beef that way, and it's pretty cool after you punch each other in the face?
It helps, and some people take to social media and ruin their relationship.
Oh, like Strickland and Chris.
They were like buddy-buddy.
I think it was a long time coming. You try to go up to one of the judges after your fight, after a bullshit decision, they will not look you in the eye.
No, it's wild. I've approached him too.
Really? What happened?
I've approached him too, and they would not.
The Casuals. We don't know nothing at all.
Welcome back to the Casuals MMA. We are a combat sports and MMA podcast hosted by very, very casual and very Asian fans right
Mostly
now.
Asian.
Hello?
Mostly Asian. Very casual. My name is Gilbert, and that is Nick. We're both dressed like waiters at P.F. Chang's.
how we
And
dress?
of course, we got...
What is with this? Why are you guys all in black today?
This is how I usually dress.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I always dress in
Where's
black.
the Crocs?
Honestly?
Whoa, rude.
Whoa.
This is the first time he hasn't worn Crocs.
I had to dress up because we had special guests
Special
on today.
guest.
They knew Jessica was coming.
I appreciate it. Because
Let's all
I'm
wear
not a
black
fan of
with her.
Crocs. Not a fan of Crocs.
Oh, nobody gave me the memo.
And we also got David So here.
I finally get short shorts companions, dude.
honoring the Two Straws podcast, showing off his white meat.
Of course, the legs are a little better over there.
A little too high.
No, relax.
We got David So, and guys, we have a very special guest here. Former Invicta champions in here. We got top ranked 15 fighters here in the UFC. We got the very funny, the wonderful Two Straws podcast. We have Angela Hill and Jessica Penne or Penne. How do you say it? We were talking about that. How do you say your last?
Either one's acceptable.
Really?
Yeah. You can go Penne.
Oh.
Oh.
Can you pull that off?
Penne.
You put like a
Or
thing over it,
I'll accept Penny.
Penny.
Okay, what does Bruce
Buffer
do?
said it Panay, so it threw me off.
Yeah.
He gets
They always do that. Rogan does that too. It's fine.
Yeah, see, I always thought that was weird. He was like, Panay! I was like, I don't think
Who's
anybody
Panay?
pronounces it like that. But all right, Bruce.
Yeah, cuts her corner, rolls her eyes.
It's fine. I love Bruce. He can say it however he wants to.
Oh,
All right,
ladies
so
love Bruce.
thank you both for driving up from San Diego.
Yeah,
It was a long day.
I
Yeah, I bet.
got it, okay? I said, we'll take you to a nice meal after. Pick the spot. I'll Venmo. She's reminding me she drove up here.
Hey, watch your mouth. She'll beat your ass.
I know, I'm really
Shut your
scared.
filthy mouth.
Sorry, Miss Benet. So before we start the podcast, I just want to understand this friendship. I feel like I see you guys popping up everywhere, doing crazy reels.
Fighting in airports.
Fighting in
regular shit.
airports.
Oh, yeah.
We have professional fighters here.
Oh, yeah, like you forgot? How do you
I mean, that's not an airport.
It's a
that's
casino.
Yeah, that's
Is it?
a casino.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How did you not know this?
What? You
Which,
guys have no
what was that
dangerous.
place? What
Was it Hamul?
It was somewhere Bellator. Bellator.
Was it a Bellator?
It was a Bellator.
Oh.
Are you disgusted that we
I mean,
went?
it was Bellator.
Why would you go there?
Whoa, dude. Whoa.
Shots fired.
Do you guys do this often? Do you have
Fight
like
in
no
the street?
shame? Have you guys always been like this? Goofballs? What's
This was an April Fool's clip, and we wanted to be like, oh, let's make it look like we broke up as friends. Okay. And so it was like, how would fighter friends break up? By fighting each other. So
Nobody bought it.
That was the concept.
Yeah, what a technical fake
Has that
scrap.
ever happened?
Yeah.
for you two?
I know, right?
Like anybody you've trained with, have you had beef and like shit you have to settle the score like this?
I mean,
You kind of, you get it all out in sparring and
Yeah.
in training. Sometimes you'll hold, I speak for myself. Sometimes I will hold a grudge, to the next training match, and then I'll just make sure to, in my own way, on my own terms, without speaking to anyone, I'll, squash it myself.
you just slide the elbow pad
Exactly.
down.
I'm like, we're good now.
Oh, I'm so sorry I cut you
I know.
before
We
your
got knives
fight.
this round, right?
We're friends again. It's fine.
Do most fighters just like squash beef that way, and it's pretty cool after you punch each other in the face?
Get out of your system.
It helps.
Okay.
It helps sometimes, but we've seen some feuds that, are still lasting. Like we have Colby Covington and Masvidal that we'll probably never be friends again. Some
Yeah.
people just lose it, and some people I've seen it a lot in the gym. Some people will just need to get something off their chest, and they'll say it with their fists, and then they're fine. And some people take to social media and ruin their relationship. It just
like Strickland and Chris.
it's so
So
sad.
sad.
I really liked that.
That
one.
They
It
never
makes me
really
sad.
delved
I
into
like
that.
that
They just
one.
were like, we don't see eye to eye, but they were like buddies.
I think it was a long time coming. I felt like it was a slow burn, and then finally they realized they couldn't make it work.
So does Chris Curtis still train there? Do you feel like he goes to different gyms?
Oh, of course he trains it. They train everyone.
They just side eye each other when they walk in.
Wow.
They need to have separate training sessions
awkward.
without knowing anything about the situation. That's
We know
That's
nothing.
what I-
Look, officially, we know
Speculate. Go
nothing.
ahead. I think it's a one-way street on that relationship. I think we know who the problem is.
Chris Curtis.
Yeah, Kurt Action
Definitely
Man,
Chris
dude.
Curtis, dude.
You're crazy,
Oh my
dude.
God.
Chris Strickland said he wasn't black, and that's why.
So
he got
proud.
That's like Strickland's biggest thing with Chris Curtis. He goes, he's not black. It's like, you can't start every interview like that.
That is like the worst thing you could say to a black person because
Yeah.
like growing up in a black community, you hear that all your fucking life, and then
Yeah.
a white person says that to you, and it just fucking it lights a fire in your ass. Like
A
I'm
former
already
skinhead,
heated.
if anything else.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Show.
it's
crazy.
It's not cool.
So you guys, did you guys first meet on the Tough season, or was it before that? Or
No, it's the Ultimate Fighter.
so what's the Ultimate Fighter you
Yeah.
guys first met? Do you guys remember your first impressions of each other?
I do.
Oh damn, she's.
I actually got reminded of it. No, so my last fight, we stayed at Palace Station, and Palace Station is where they kept us when we were doing, going through the interview process for the Ultimate Fighter. And I remember seeing this little sassy thing walking down the hall with her mohawk, all confident with herself, and I was just like, "Who does this bitch think she is?" And she gave me like this little, and I was like. It's okay. I kind of like her, but we'll see how it goes.
Yay.
And then she won me over on the show because she was just really funny and kind. And she drew. I was really missing my dog Ludo, and she drew a tattoo of Ludo on my arm. She's an amazing artist, and so she was just really sweet. And then we also bonded and connected over singing Disney songs in the house,
Okay.
which nobody will ever see because of copyright.
Yeah,
So,
whole new world. We went through the whole like Little Mermaid soundtrack.
Yeah, it was pretty theatrical, and we've been friends since.
What are some memories you guys remember from these tryouts? Because this was a pretty historic moment. I feel like in MMA, women's MMA. I feel like the last time a reality show like this
Oh, there I am.
with this much
There
hype
you aren't.
with women was probably like Ring Girls or Fight Girls with Gina Carano. I remember that was like the last big hype of
Yeah.
female fighters. So this was kind of a big deal.
Oh my God.
You look exactly the same.
Oh my God! Thank you.
That's so funny.
How did this process work? Because I know it's a little different these days.
Well, this season was different because there were already picked spots, and I thought Jessica was one of the picked people already.
I was, but I was an atom weight, so I turned it down. And then somebody told me that I was a huge idiot and to go grovel and beg for forgiveness and get back on it. And so I called Sean Shelby, who was the one who invited me to buy out my contract from Invicta and get me on. But I was just like, I'm an atom weight, I'm too small. I've always kind of had that mentality. And so when I called him back, he's like, well, it's too late now. You have to try out. So
Dang.
How many spots was it? Like 7? Or-
yeah.
I think there were about 7 spots,
Yeah.
and there were 16 total spots. So these girls are trying out for 8. No, 9. There we go, math. Yeah, we're all trying out for 9 spots. And it was really interesting because I just went to network. Like, I was like, I have one fight. I got my fight 2 days before the tryouts. So I was trying really hard to get a fight. I couldn't get my first MMA fight because I had like a good Muay Thai record.
Yeah.
Oh, there I am. Look
remember
I
that
still have
mohawk.
the black eye from the fight. And ironically enough, I'm representing a gem called Black Eye. But but I showed up two days after my fight. I won. I got a knockout. And then I was like, let me just go and network. And hopefully Dana White will see me and they'll keep me in the Rolodex for, later on. And then I ended up getting on the show.
Wow.
Damn.
That's pretty crazy to take a fight a couple days before they're trying.
Yeah.
Wild.
But I mean, I feel like that's my life. Like, I'll just do this on a whim and it becomes my career.
Is that how you got into Muay Thai? On a whim?
Yeah, I was just doing it
She's
because
like,
it was fun. Like me and my husband, we had just moved in together, and we were just kind of getting fat. And I tried all these other types of workouts, and then eventually I was like, "Yo, let's try martial arts. I feel like Muay Thai would be really fun." I've been asking around, and that seems like one that I could get into. And we started going, and we fell in love with it. And then 9 months later, I had my first fight.
Does your husband fight as well?
He used to. He never went pro, but he fought amateur for a while, and then he took the coaching role more so than continue to fight. Like, you have to have the mentality for it, and he was like, I'm
good.
I'm not about that. Yeah.
It's so insane because I remember just Dana White saying that women will never fight in the UFC. Like,
Dude,
early on.
yeah.
He was so adamant about it. And then his tune just switched.
Yeah.
He saw the dollar signs. He's like, these girls get after. Yeah.
I never said that women will never fight.
Yeah.
Dana was recorded.
Let's do what Strikeforce is doing.
I mean, see, like, try to put any of the most famous male fighters in a G-string and see how many likes that gets. You know?
I've seen Jerkis on the G-string,
fight.
and he looked pretty damn good. For
Oh, you're into that? Let's go. White chocolate.
I don't
over
think
there.
I've ever seen that.
Dude, I feel like South African dudes are just always in like the weirdest things.
They're Tonys.
Yeah, always just
Little
wearing
dynamics.
dogs and like, yeah, we're just dudes.
It's that gut,
We were talking before the podcast about like who was in this season. It's pretty insane.
The who's who.
The who's who.
Yeah,
women's
there's not many of
MMA.
us left now, too.
Do you guys? Any of you guys keep in touch? Obviously, you guys do. Is it kind of like all just separate factions?
It's faction.
It got-
like,
well, it got a little
Game of
clicky on the
Thrones.
show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it definitely did. They didn't need to incite any kind of drama or anything like that. There was like a little bit of drama, but it also wasn't as dramatic as they portrayed it to be. There were some really nice connections that were made. There were some really fun times, and I was always really bummed out that didn't get showed. They just kind of stuck to what was, easy for reality TV.
Yeah.
They cut out all the pranks.
Yeah, there
We had
were
some good pranks.
There were
What kind of
some
pranks
really
were you guys
good
doing?
ones.
These two girls keep wrestling at Palace Station, and we're like, enough of that same prank. But yeah, like Tisha Torres, Beck Rawlings, Aisling Daele. Like, yeah, it's a Joanne Calder. I mean, it's everyone. It's kind of wild, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the who's who, and then like we're kind of one of the few that are still active.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool though. Like I don't think we keep in touch, but when we see each other, we're pretty friendly.
Yeah.
Like nowadays, just because it's like seeing, I don't know, someone who's went through a traumatic experience together. You're like,
It's a little trauma bonding. Like,
Yeah,
okay, we're cool.
When you're in like these competitions, do you two ever feel like you have to, let's say you're competing with somebody that you're like kind of cool with, do you have to hate them a little bit before you fight them? Or like what's the mentality behind that? Because like if you're like in a cage with somebody, right, and you're getting along with them really well, it's like, how do you turn that switch of like, okay, I gotta smash this person's face in?
I mean, the same way you do in sparring with your training partners. You at the end of the day, you're all there for a purpose to get better and elevate yourselves. And so you just kind of have to shut that part off. I competed against a friend of mine. We were never super close, but we knew each other from Orange County, and Carla Esparza. That was a little challenging. And we were on the same team. We were roommates, bunkmates basically, in the house. So it was a little weird, but we both kept it professional, and we knew that we were here, for a purpose to compete. We're all competing for the same thing. So we supported each other up until that point, and then we just started doing separate training sessions. It's a mindset you have to flip on and flip off a switch.
Are
Yeah.
you guys been big into like shit talking then?
no.
She's really good at it,
bro,
though.
you do
I'm good at it.
No, she's really good at it.
So I haven't had the chance to shit talk because I don't believe in just bullying people.
Yeah.
But if someone started something, I definitely finish it. And I
Want
feel
names?
like,
We want names.
well, they never
Claudia?
did.
Claudia?
They scared.
Claudia?
Claudia did start something,
There we
and then
go.
I finished it. And then she called me racist. I'm like, how can I be racist against Brazilians? That's a country. But
Finished it, bitch!
It's done.
mic drop. But we actually squashed it recently. Like, I saw her at International Fight Week.
Yeah.
And I was sitting next to, like, someone she's really close to. And I was just like, yeah, we're cool, right? And she's like, yeah, we're cool. It's over. So we kind of squashed the beef.
I feel that shit talking, though, really does sell fights, right?
It does. And I get so mad when no one starts it because I really don't want to be the person that just starts shit talking for no reason. Like, I feel like that's kind of cheap. But if somebody did want to, like, get down and dirty, like, I'm like, all right, let's go. But I feel like people can sense that about you. Like, they can sense when you're like,
They're like, oh,
good at it.
better not.
Yeah.
Better not.
They size me up and they're like, yeah, let's just have a clean fight. I'm good.
I feel like it's just a big part now, especially when it comes to like a paycheck, right? Because the fighter no longer can just be the fighter. Like that idea of martial arts in the UFC has now passed because it's about numbers. So even if you like Ilia Topuria is a great example, right? The whole fight, I thought he hated Max, and then afterwards, he's just like, "This guy's my hero," you know?
Yeah,
that's hard though. As a fan watching, that's kind of hard for me to like get behind because I'm like, well, which one is it?
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to not like them, like really don't like them, don't. I don't know. It's a hard one. That's very hot and cold for me. If people are genuinely, authentically who they are, if they are the heel, then stay the heel. But to do that, it's kind of challenging the way he did it.
Yeah. I think that's like my biggest criticism with like Ian Garry is that he doesn't know how to play the hero or the heel role. So nobody kind of has like a finger on him, right? It's like, well, what are you? Like, are we supposed to hate you or are we supposed to like you? Because like he has like that weird thing where I'm just like, if you're gonna play the heel, just go all the way into it. Because then at least we want to see you lose, right? Because then you'll sell tickets.
Yeah.
Right.
So you don't want to see him lose.
I like.
fan.
I think.
Oh wow.
I think striking wise he's dope, but I think he's really annoying to me to watch.
What about him is annoying though?
Because I like
His accent.
I think because he talks a lot of shit, but then he blocks all his
racist
comments.
towards Brazil.
I think that's something I don't like.
Yeah, I get that.
Like pick a
little
choice.
lame.
Like if you can dish it, then you should take it as well too. Because he's
Yeah.
like, it's for
He
me
just
mental
seems-
health. I'm like, well, you're just talking shit all the time
And if
though.
you left the comments open, his engagement would probably
It'd be a
through
lot
the
better
roof.
too.
Yeah.
And so
People
that's the
arguing
thing.
in the comments all the time.
As a fan, I don't like it, right? It's like, oh, we like watching him strike, but then he talks really big, and then we saw his last two performances. It was like, it was a little lackluster.
Yeah.
So, for a fan, it's like, well, if you're going to talk that big, you got to show up too in the fight. And then if you are going to talk that shit, leave the comments open. So for him, he gets to say what he wants, but he goes, I don't want to hear it though. And I think that's a little weird for me as a fan. But, he's going to fight
Joaquin Buckley, baby.
Fun one.
Two people that a lot of people don't like.
Oh man, I
love Buckley.
I think
Yeah,
Buckley's
we're
a
Buckley
beautiful
fans.
We kind of turn on to New Manza.
Yeah.
New
Yeah.
Manza's our
Manza.
guy.
Especially with his last performance.
Oof,
'Cause
that was good. Yeah.
Because people might not like Buckley's personality, but everybody wants to watch him fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so fucking exciting.
He's on a tear, bro.
Right.
He's on a tear.
And then look at Ian Garry's last couple of fights.
Yeah.
He's been kind of flat, so maybe this is going to be the fight that brings that out of him, that monster out of him again that people fell in love with when he first came up. But at the same time, he does seem a little like not as mentally tough and doesn't have as much thick skin as someone like Buckley, who is like prodding the beehive and trying to get that
doing it.
He's a dog.
reaction
He's
out
doing
of
it.
people. He's putting out as many videos as possible to
Fighting
get people to talk
DC.
shit about.
Yeah.
Talking to
Did
everybody.
I think that was a great move for him because like what he's saying is true. DC will wrestle everyone else, but he doesn't want to wrestle him when he's in fight week. Hey, wrestle
don't
all
like
the. You don't like him. He
What about
doesn't
Buddy
like
Buddy,
him.
huh?
So
When,
it's funny that he keeps prodding at these little things that become lore in MMA. I think he's doing a good job of promoting himself that way.
Yeah, and I think like with Joaquin, even if people don't like what he says, like you said, he shows up. So for him, like when I see Ian Garry, when he started rising to the top, it was more like, I don't know if this is like a correct assessment, but it seems like he fights like he's scared to lose, not trying to win. So
Yeah, now.
Yeah.
He's trying to
Now.
stay safe.
Yes.
I mean, that happens with certain fighters. Like it happened to GSP as the most famous one, where he adapted his style to win and come out unscathed. And I mean, it was a smart move, business wise, but it's, the fans didn't quite take to it very well. But at the end of the day, fighters have to do what they have to do to secure those wins.
And it aged well too.
It did. It really did. But at first, it wasn't received well. But I understand why fighters, start adapting their style to be successful and to not lose.
Yeah.
It's not as entertaining. I understand it's an entertainment
Over everything.
over everything.
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes like affects a fighter's ability to fight, because there's so many factors now, right? You have to self-promote yourself. And it's not just you training now. There's just a whole other aspect to it, especially with social media now, because you have to work your social media game. It's like you could win these fights, but if nobody's talking about you, the paychecks aren't there and fans don't care anymore,
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like that's a huge thing in terms of like how it affects your performance as a fighter?
For sure. Like, everyone remembers Dana White saying that Nate Diaz doesn't move the needle when it came to like fighting Conor McGregor, and then he beat Conor McGregor, and suddenly, okay, he's moving needles now.
Yeah.
But it's something that's always in the back of a fighter's mind. I think female fighters too, we have a different type of pressure on like looking a certain way and being able to come in and present ourselves a certain way. And the guys don't really have to deal with that. But at the same time, some guys will say that it's easier for women to promote themselves on social media and on Twitter and stuff than men, because we can put on booty shorts and like do a little twerk dance and suddenly we have a million.
Yeah, it's not working
just
for
like
me.
it's
Not working for me.
I haven't seen the twerk, but
Oh, it's legendary. Quick.
Go.
yeah.
How you think we afford this shit right now?
yeah.
I'll wait. Where is this?
No, I hurt my knees. I'm tired. I have to pay people money to twerk now.
Not quite the Megan knees that you need.
Speaking about the heel, did you guys think Ronda played the heel, or that was just her? What was your assessment over the whole
So
thing?
I think that was an authentic role for her to play. I think that she was, it wasn't a far reach. It's like you watch a lot of actors that kind of don't play far from themselves, and it's believable, it's likable because it's more authentic. And then you have, certain actors that can, be really diverse in the roles that they play, but people kind of just stick to where their comfort is, where it's most closely like authentically themselves. And I think she found her role.
Yeah.
She got a lot of flack because of after
The
Holly Holmes thing, and then she wrote. Is this because she wrote a book? Is that why she had like this short little media stint where she was talking about the Holly Holmes fight?
Yeah,
Oh,
she wrote a
recently,
book.
Yeah.
She was talking about her concussions and talking about, I guess, not being accepted by the MMA community, or feeling like she wouldn't be accepted if she came back. And I'm not sure. Like, I can understand how hard it would be to be so high and then to fall from grace so hard. And people were waiting so hard for her to lose. And she wasn't like a Conor McGregor in the sense where she could lose but still like talk shit and still like be very vocal in the scene. Like when she lost, she disappeared. And then she tried to come back, and then she disappeared again because it was bad again. And I honestly felt like if she had come back, she'd be received really well. In the same way like Miocic
so too.
Yeah.
was received really well when she came back and she won a fight, and people were so happy to see her, so happy to see like a familiar face and reminded of that golden era of the bantamweight division. But like, if you feel a certain way about the MMA community, like you can't convince someone that's gonna think, man, all these people want to see me lose. You can't convince them otherwise.
Yeah.
And I think that carried on into her WWE career too, where she felt like people just wanted to see her fail. And even though she was really successful and she started really playing her part well, I don't know, there was just this bad taste in her mouth from the MMA community, and unfortunately that's just the way it is. There's so much mental that goes into being like an MMA fighter, being a character. Like, I don't know, like it's one thing to like play a part in a movie, but we have to kind of do both. We have to be athletes, we have to win, and we have to play this part on and off the camera, and it's draining. So I can see her doing as much as she did for women's MMA, as much as she did for like becoming such a big star. I can see her being totally tapped out by the time she ended up retiring.
I bet the paychecks in the WWE are nicer too, huh?
I'm not sure for her, probably.
For her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was such a big star. She was able to transition well.
I think that she did really well for herself in MMA money-wise, better than most. And then that made it a lot easier for her to transition into the level that she did with wrestling and be successful there. She, as whatever kind of, feeling she has. She did very well for herself playing that role and, doing what she did. She did a lot for the sport. She's doing a lot for wrestling now. I think she did it well. Hearing that she doesn't feel that the MMA community would receive her well, I don't believe that to be true. I know that's her feelings and thoughts.
Neither do I.
No, I think she would be well received. I think she's been received in all kind of facets, but like Angela was saying, you can't convince her otherwise if that's, what the thought that's in her mind.
Yeah, because when she came back to fight Amanda Nunes, right? Like, I don't remember any of me or my friends thinking like, "Oh, we can't wait for her to get knocked out." We were excited to see her back in the octagon.
Comeback.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
because of her effect on like women's MMA was huge.
Yeah,
she was everything. She was everywhere. She was doing talk shows,
she was in movies,
everything, dude. So like seeing her come back, I was super excited. So I don't know why she would. Maybe that's just something that's in her head.
I remember Dana saying the new champion Amanda Nunes. Like, she was defending her belt. You forgot. Yeah,
right.
that happened. And I was like, damn, like that's how much Ronda was loved. You know, like you forgot that she lost because she was in this big high level fight again. And I think people would have loved to see her win. The popularity of Amanda Nunes did not translate to the popularity of Ronda Rousey. And so there has been a void, I think, in women's MMA after she left. And I think it's the same void that Conor left in men's MMA. Just, you don't have that big superstar right now that we had when it was really growing popularity. But she did open the door for a lot of athletes. And so, like, the entire time on Tough, they would ask us, how great is it that Ronda Rousey allowed you to be here?
I was like, bitch, I've been training my whole life.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. Can we talk about me?
No, exactly.
I've been fighting and clawing my way for about a decade before this, but okay.
No big deal. Thanks, Ronda Rousey. All hail Ronda Rousey. And at the time it was annoying, but it really was true. Like she was the catalyst for what women's MMA is now.
Yeah. If I could ask you this for you, Angela, you have been in your career. There's been so many like controversies about your decision losses.
Yeah, we talk.
And listen,
about all the time.
I've been very vocal about this on this podcast.
Oh,
it fucking pisses me off.
Yeah,
it makes. I think most fans feel that way, though, right?
Absolutely.
Like there's a couple questions. It's like, number one, why do you think that happens? And number two, about your opinions about MMA judging, like having. It's irritating, you know what I mean? Especially as fans, when we watch this stuff, it's like, once we watch for a while, we expect a certain outcome. But it seems recently, I would like both your opinions on this. It's like the judging seems a little wonky, a lot more recently, and I don't know what that's about.
It should be better.
Yeah,
we've been doing the sport
is
longer.
growing.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when something goes unchecked? It just keeps getting worse. And I think that's what's been happening with MMA judging. I don't know. I have this theory that they're all in like some corrupt little WhatsApp chat going like, hey, let's fuck this girl real quick. Or let's make some money real quick and just, bet towards the favorite, and nobody's going to blink an eye because everyone expected this person to win anyway. And they'll say robbery, but nothing's going to happen about it. So I have this, it's like my foil hat kind of theory. I'm like,
makes sense though.
It could happen because they have a lot of power. They have a lot of power to wield, and they don't make a lot of money. I forget how much it is, but they're probably one of the lowest paid when it comes to all the people who show up to work at a UFC event.
Interesting.
So to have that much sway over the outcome of a fight, to have that like avenue to make a little extra cash on the side. We just had a Kraus get found out by the FBI that he was doing
crazy.
something.
Wild.
He was affecting fights. He was like, he had a whole thing like, hey, my fighter's injured and he's still fighting. Why don't you bet on the other guy? Like,
oh, is that what he was doing?
Yes.
Dude, that's so
Also,
crazy.
paper
He's
trail,
banned
dude.
for life.
Yeah.
He was like becoming like coach of the year too, wasn't he? He was like on that route.
His betting was doing crazy too. He had a little betting group, I think.
well, the
They were,
betting
like,
group,
winning. They were winning all the time. It was
the betting
crazy.
group is what got him investigated by the FBI.
Yeah, I was signed up for it for a while. We We were making
A lot of money.
We were making tons of money.
So what was he saying in there?
I was joking. I would follow some of his picks because, like, I would hear what he would say, and he would always be kind of right. Like, he would nail it, especially on his guy like Minor. What's his name? Derek Minor.
Well, I bet it was always his guys that he would know because he's there watching it happen.
He was on it though. He was definitely on it. He was watching all the lines. He was really into it.
So yeah, if a coach would do that and they don't really have as much power over who wins the fight as the actual judges in the judging table, then my conspiracy is that they're in cahoots because a lot of times it's judges that often get the fight right. And then all of a sudden, they all pick the guy who obviously didn't win the fight.
Because some of these scorecards are wild. It's
Yeah.
Like, what did you watch? Did you think it was the other person?
Do you guys remember? Do you guys like just have? I'm sure after some of your fights, you're like, "Fuck this judge. This guy is."
Oh, we
me
have
over."
a list.
You have a list?
Yeah, there's a list.
What
We
are some
talk
names?
about it a
What's
lot
them
on our podcast.
Jessica,
Yeah,
what's your
we-
list? Give us the list, please.
Adelaide Berg.
Oh my God, she is.
She's always. She's always in the mix.
No,
Adelaide
no,
Berg's
I've
always
said
in the
this
mix.
so many times. This woman was corrective glasses.
Very Kamala of you. I like that. Mr. President.
No, it's you need the proper prescription to drive a car. You need the proper prescription to watch fights and judge them.
Yeah.
If you can't see, you shouldn't be there.
Oh, so she's legit. Like, can't really see that well. She got bifocal.
Oh my gosh!
Wait,
what?
She's
she's like legally blind.
Coke bottle.
She's reading Braille.
I think
Give you the
what it comes
play-by-play.
down to with the inconsistency of a lot of these judges is just like nobody is communicating amongst themselves, with the fighters, with anyone about what the criteria is, and nobody can agree on it. So everybody's looking at something different. And I mean, there's, we're human. We have different perspectives. We view things from different lenses. And this is where I think is, causing a lot of the mix-ups. So I think that there has to, within the commissions, be criteria. There have to be tests taken. There have to be all sorts of things that will get this a little bit more consistent across the board. And it's not happening. But I feel like the more we talk about it, the more we bring it to the forefront, it will stimulate growth and change.
Is she legit legally blind?
Her name is always in the mix.
Legally blind.
I mean, she's number 2.
That's so funny. So when the
Michael
fight
Rosales.
starts, she's faced this way. She's like, this fight's amazing.
Michael Rosales.
Penny's over there.
Can you turn the...
Like, we always talk about Michael Bell, and he's up there too.
Michael Bell, like a lot of times, more times than often, gets it right.
That's what I'm saying. And
For her fights.
Yeah.
For her fight.
Not for my fights, just for fights in general.
What about Sal Diamato?
Sal's hit or miss for me
always-
too, but he is always one of the, he's in the group chat. That's what I'm saying.
Consistent.
Okay, so out of that list,
Oh, the conspiracy theory.
out of that list, I think that Eric Colin, Chris Lee, Sal D'Amato, Michael Bell, Dave Tirelli, perhaps, Derek Clearly for sure.
Oh yeah, he's always.
Ben Cartilage has been on the list. Oh, Junico Camijo, that's the one I was telling you about. I can't remember.
They're all.
Junichiro, all of those guys.
Do they have backgrounds in fight? Is that a requirement at all?
A lot of them train,
so they do
and that's
train.
the thing that we also talked about, because we talk about maybe it would be an option for ex-fighters or coaches or whatever to do judging, but then you get that conflict of interest that a lot of people wouldn't take seriously, and they just still sit down and judge a fight. Like you get it a lot in BJJ tournaments where this guy who trains under the guy who gave you your black belt is judging who gets the ref decision, So it's all corrupt, and I think it would make a lot of sense if you just had them talk about why they did what they did.
Oh, that's interesting.
I feel like because
yourself.
Yeah, explain yourself, because the refs have to answer for themselves. The fighters have to answer for themselves. You have a title fight. It's not just the person who won that goes to the press conference. The guy who lost also has to talk about what happened. Happens in basketball, happens in, you know, all the major sports. So you should have the judges say why I judged it for this person, why this round went to this person when
I like that.
everyone else
What
thought
do you
it
guys
went to
think
the
about
other
like
guy.
the open scoring? Do you think that would be like a good solution? Do you think that would help out like with some
I like
lopsided?
Like CJI did it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's important for a fighter and the coaches to understand what's working, what's not working, and then you can get a little bit better feel of what the judges are looking at and then kind of adjust to that. Now, some people may not like it because, you know, a fight's a fight and you're just going to go out there and do what you're going to do anyways. But I think that transparency in judging and the criteria are what is lacking.
I think it would also just make for more exciting fights, especially for fighters to turn the tide when they're losing.
Yeah.
So they could either turn it up or switch up their game
Like
plan.
seeing the scoreboard,
Yeah,
like
for
in
real.
a normal sport.
Yeah,
You
that
know?
would help, right?
Because there's always like a discrepancy about, you know, depending on who's judging, it's like how much are they going to take into account for these takedowns that do no damage, right? Sometimes judges think it's great. Sometimes they think it's bullshit. So if a fighter could hear, like, let's say if it's a 3-round fight, on the 3rd round fight, they're like, oh, they clearly care about takedowns. Let me go ahead and switch my game up. And then we could see, as for fans, we could probably see a way more exciting 3rd round, right?
Yeah.
Because there are, like, for example, with like the Jose Aldo fight, where he just fought recently, you know, a lot of people thought that Jose won that. And they kind of, they criticized, was it Chris Martinez?
No,
It was, no.
Mario Batista.
Mario Batista for kind of stalling, right? But maybe if Jose Aldo kind of knew the scorecards going ahead, it's like, oh, they think that this has worked, then let me go ahead and put some more work on the 3rd round. And then we probably would have saw a more exciting outcome. Who knows?
It makes you take more risks for sure. Like if you're in the 3rd and you think, okay, all I got to do is win this round and I win the fight, and then you know you're down 2, then it'll make you try to finish the fight. And even though you're trying to finish the fight the entire time, maybe you jump for the guillotine, maybe you like throw the head kick that you're too tired to throw, maybe you just like go crazy in that last round. But like you'll knowing that you have to finish the fight will definitely change things.
Yeah.
And I think that would be a good change. But like Douglas Crosby, he famously went to what was Nick Six's gym? Which one
Extreme
is that?
Couture?
Yeah, he went there and he talked to the fighters about what he thinks is like the criteria for judging. It was the exact opposite of what's in like the rule book. Yeah, it was the exact opposite. He's like, I don't score this, I don't score that. I think this is bullshit. And it's like, what
so funny.
is this guy doing?
Are you making up your
criteria.
own
He made his own criteria for scoring fights, and luckily he's gone. So we were talking about that on the podcast. Like maybe the fact that he's now gone, he's no longer judging UFC fights. Maybe there's hope that other people who like just don't understand how to score fights will no longer be in that position.
That's kind of hilarious, though. He just goes in and he goes, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, no, exactly. He does that.
I'm the commission.
You know he's not the only one. Then, you know?
He's not. No,
That's
for
fucking
sure.
wild. And he was open
He's
about
like,
it.
takedowns are lame. We're not going to count them.
Yeah.
Boring.
Like, if he was going to, why would he say that to people?
Yeah.
It's not very
Weird.
smart.
Meanwhile, if you try to go up to one of the judges after your fight, after a bullshit decision, they will not look you in the eye.
No, it's wild.
Like,
I've approached him too.
What? Really? What happened?
I've approached him too, and they would not even look at me.
No.
What fight was
Do you
it?
think they're scared?
It was after Cage Warriors.
Oh.
It was after Wilson lost a decision, and I was like, he did not lose that decision.
Yeah.
I was like, I know all of their names and the refs' names, and I'm going to go up to them. Would not. I was like, oh, we follow each other on Instagram, but you're not going to talk to me now?
Oh.
Okay.
Because you know you did something.
Oh, something's a little
Group
dirty
chat.
there.
Group chat.
Show me the WhatsApp right now.
My husband
To be fair, I'm
actually,
probably on their list now, but you know.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, I'm going to be on your list. Yeah, no, Adam went up to Douglas Crosby after, I forget which fight it was. It was either Gedalia or Watterson, but one of those. I think it was the Gedalia one. And he was like, the fuck? And he wouldn't look at him. What? I think he said, he didn't look at him, but he said, take it up with the commission. Take it up with the commission. And when you take it up with the commission, it always gets thrown out. There was only one fight that actually got overturned that I remember, the one when Thingy was getting armbarred and they stopped it.
Who was that?
Invicta.
Yeah.
Like it was an early stoppage.
They stopped. She put her knee on the girl's face to free up her arm, and the referee got in between, like, "Oh, hey, you can't do that."
Can't need a down opponent.
But she wasn't kneeing her.
You're allowed to cry.
She was kneeing her, but not like kneeing her.
Yeah.
He wasn't throwing a strike.
Yeah. So they overturned it as a no contest.
Wow,
Because that ended up getting her arm barred because you moved her knee off of the girl's face and,
And
she got
go.
arm barred.
Yeah.
Yeah. Start from arm bar position. Like,
Here
come
we go.
on, bro. That was the
whack.
only time I remember that happening.
Are there any fights? I was curious. Do you want to run back? If you can run them back still.
All your decision losses right now.
Every one. And a couple girls I finished just so I could have a few finishes on my record. Yeah, no, everyone. I would have loved to fight Gadelha and Watterson again, but
The Watterson fight, bro.
bro. Started. I would have loved to fight those, but the thing that those fights showed me was that I need to get more confident in my ground game, and they kind of started my jiu-jitsu journey, and like now I'm a purple belt. So I think those were good learning experiences. But then the Lemos fight, Amanda Lemos,
Yep.
it just was such a slap in the face seeing how many opportunities she got after our fight, after so many people thought that I won. Even Dana White brought me into the back room, was like, "Hey man, I thought you won that fight."
How do those talks go? He's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he's also, he understands the fight game. He understands that there's not a lot of control into decisions or whatever. But I would love to run that one back because I feel like I could finish her now.
Dude, that'd be a
Now
great
that-
fight.
Yeah,
That'd be a legit
I would
fight.
really love to run that one
And now
back.
Douglas Crosby's not in the mix anymore.
Now you can
Hey,
finally
get out
win.
of here.
That's just such a funny story to me, dude.
Yeah.
Just to go into a gym and be like, shit, I don't follow none of these rules. Like, all right, dude. Like, why would you say that? Why are you even here? Like, get out of here.
He's saying the quiet part loud.
Exactly.
Jessica, are there any fights that you'd want to run back if you could? Because I love that Invicta Watterson fight. I was like,
Yeah, that one for sure. I had just a lot of stuff leading up to that fight that I wasn't really able to properly train. Most of my fights I haven't been able to properly train.
just injuries?
But I still do. Yeah. I wouldn't mind running that back. I was hoping that the atomweight division would be brought into the UFC, at some point in my career, and it just doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
They should, huh?
No, they really should. I've pushed for it, but every time I've tried to be outspoken about it, it's not really received well by the people that could potentially make the change.
Yeah, the fans love it.
The fans love the
They're like,
idea.
"Yeah,
it
more
really is a
chicks."
stacked division, especially since they're they just built a PI in China.
Yeah.
And they're doing the road to the UFC. It just really opens the doors for a lot of that because there's so many atom weights and flyweights and
So many Japanese fighters.
there's just so many fighters that could really fill that roster up, and it makes me sad that they're not open to it.
Yeah, what would be the reason for them not to?
They keep saying that there's not enough talent out there to fill the roster, but I mean, you could argue that for the
Angela
featherweight,
Lee.
that's now no longer. Women's featherweight is no longer in the UFC. Even the women's bantamweight is a pretty small division. They were trying to do away with the men's flyweight for a long time because they say it wasn't stacked, and it's one of the most exciting divisions.
DJ's like
it's-
the
Last year, too.
Yeah, they were like, we got rid of DJ.
Yeah.
Now for the rest of them, and they never
if you
went
open
away.
it up, I feel like you would just be really impressed with the amount of athletes that you would have.
Yeah, because I would argue, I mean, no disrespect to like the women's bantamweight, but it's not that exciting right now for their weight division. Like, it doesn't seem to be. I mean, to the point where they're asking, like, people are asking for Amanda Nunes to come back. Like, please, like, set fire to this division again.
Yeah.
Right. And what was the last championship fight with
Pena.
Yeah,
Yeah, Raquel.
and Pennington.
Pennington? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of criticism about that too. So I would feel like the lower weight classes, especially for women, would be way more
just way
exciting.
more
They're just
people.
way more.
Yeah.
The pool is so
Yeah.
much bigger.
Yeah, it's a bigger talent pool. There's way more girls who can fit in that category than women.
145.
Because if you see what a 145 female looks like
Chris
when they're
Cyborg.
walking
Yeah.
around.
No, Gabby Garcia.
They're
Oh,
big
Gabby
people.
Garcia.
Yeah.
Well, Gabby Garcia is probably my weight class, dude. That's huge, man. She's yoked.
Raw.
Yeah.
She is yoked.
Well, the first time I saw Chris Cyborg in person was at I was fighting on Lion Fight, and she was there, and she was standing next to Tito Ortiz, who was managing her, and they were legit the same size.
Dude, she's a big
Tito
lady.
Ortiz managed somebody? No disrespect. I love
There's a lot of memes. There's a lot of memes
He
on.
can't manage to spell his own name, but he managed
said he
Chris
wanted to
Cyborg for a
outlive
second.
children. He literally said that in public. He goes, I want to outlive my children. I'm like,
Oh God!
So I joined this management team with this guy George Projan, and he, without knowing, I did not do my research. Without knowing, he was partnered with Tito Ortiz. So technically, for like a year, I was managed under Tito Ortiz.
what was that like? Could he even say your name at a certain point? Like the guy.
You know what? He was very nice.
I'm sure he's.
I love you.
Very
Tito Ortiz.
nice.
Best answers.
I have a collection just on my Instagram of Tito Ortiz quotes, and it just whenever
They're
I'm
so
sad,
good.
I just watch them. It makes me laugh so
When me and my
hard.
wife get in a fight, Tito Ortiz.
He's so inadvertently one of the funniest people ever, and it's just because he's so serious, but he doesn't know what he's saying, and it's so funny because he was actually in a political position out in the OC, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was
he
running,
was, like,
running for a district.
He
or
was
something.
running.
Yeah.
Oh, he was right. Oh my God, it's so funny. He's the
Yeah.
best.
Dude. Yeah, a lot of.
Huntington bad boy. baby.
Huntington bad boy.
Huntington Beach bad boy.
That was
Huntington
yeah, my
Beach.
bad, my
That's
bad.
right. The Huntington Beach bad
guys.
boy.
Come on, get it right.
Yeah.
Piss him off here. Just some fight news. I want to get your guys' take on it. Max officially said, Holloway said he's officially at 155. Yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay, right?
Yay.
I think Max can just do whatever he wants at this point. I think he's really done amazing things at featherweight, and I'm excited for some potential like bangers at 155. I think it's a great weight class for him.
How'd you guys feel about the loss from Max Holloway? Were you guys heartbroken like the rest of the MMA community? Or were you just-
Yeah, of course, of course. But at the same
throw the
time, it's
TV
nice to see like a new emerging talent
fresh blood.
because we've had Max in the mix for so long. We've seen him like almost get there so many times, and then Ilya just seems like a monster. Like he just seems like an unstoppable force. So it's cool to maybe have a new dominant champion that we can like all go and watch and enjoy his performances and stuff. Like I feel like we're missing the amount of dominant champions that we used to have in the UFC.
Too
Like
much weight jumping. Too much class up.
Everyone
there's a lot of
messing around.
jumping, a lot of like fighting up a weight class, a lot of like champ versus champ fights now. And I like the idea of just having someone clear out a division.
Yes.
Like I enjoyed the DJ reign.
Yeah, for real.
Like I enjoyed watching that skill gap and seeing like how long is this gonna last? Or like when Anderson Silva was just smoking everything.
Yeah.
Like it was cool to show up and see it and see the buildup of a new prospect, and then he dashes their dreams too. So I don't know. It's like happy and sad at the same time. Like I like it for MMA, but I'm sad as a Max fan that he lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wrecked me for till now. Like, I'm still damaged
You're
by
still
it.
not healed.
I'm not healed from that. I don't think I'll ever be healed from that. That shit was so hard to watch.
That was rough, yeah.
It was so fucking. That was actually that whole card. I got all my picks wrong. So.
Yeah, and the Rob Whittaker, too.
Rob Whittaker, man.
The Rob.
that
Whittaker-
one
was
hurt my
scary.
feelings.
What was that? That was insane.
Just because it was so fast.
Yeah.
And the way he was tapping.
Yeah, it's like
Something's
poor
wrong.
Rob.
Yeah.
Not our Bobby.
You just don't see anybody do that to Robert Whittaker, and it was
Yeah.
just so like, what is going on? What universe do I live in? When I saw Hamza's silky beard, I'm like, he's ready, dude. that beard was too perfect.
Business beard.
He was all calm.
Very zen.
Yeah, because he had a son, I believe.
Oh.
Is that what it is? Yeah, so he spoke about it on an interview where now he's thinking about how he represents himself because what his kid will think about him. So that's why he changed a little bit.
That's
Oh, wow. He's like, I'm going to start making weight.
Yeah, so instead he decides to rip somebody's face off.
To make weight.
Badass at making weight now.
Yeah. Have you heard of the smash coin, please?
Buy my coin.
Yeah, please buy my coin. I have fun, brother.
Belal had a funky foot bone infection.
Crazy, right?
Which is, I didn't know
That
it
was
was
disgusting.
gross.
I didn't know it was a thing. Who do you think replaces that main card fight? A lot of options.
Shavkat.
You think Shavkat
Shavkat stays in.
Sanko's favorite man?
I was thinking Shavkat can go for a, what do you call it?
Interim. Yeah, and then so that was put out there, and then Belal quickly said, I'm only going to be out for this many weeks. It doesn't make sense to have, an interim title fight. But I mean, I think those ones are always kind of, they just bring something new to talk about. They bring a little bit more excitement. There's a little bit more on the line when you do an interim. I understand it's a short healing process, but why not?
Yeah, I like interim just because it means more money for the fighter. They get to get pay-per-view points next time. They get that champ bump if they win the belt, and I don't know why you wouldn't want that as the reigning champion that doesn't have to fight the next guy in line. If anything, you guarantee knowing who you're going to fight next.
Yeah, champ versus champ. That's nice. Well, Shavkat, who else do you think you could fight? You think Sean Brady or JDM? Is JDM back from
I was kind of gunning for Leon Edwards. I feel like,
why not?
Might as well.
Like, I feel like he's the most deserving of interim.
Nobody
but
threw his name in the mix, which is interesting.
I know.
Everybody
it's
was saying
weird.
Usman or
Why Usman?
JDM.
He hasn't even fought very freeky.
And he's lost his last 3.
Yeah, I think.
That's right. Last
I keep forgetting.
That's crazy. I keep forgetting he lost. Because he was so dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When he fought
yeah.
Hamzat, I felt like he kind of won a little bit.
Yeah, if it went 2 more rounds, I mean, Hamzat was gassed.
I mean, it was short notice too,
Yeah.
and it was up a weight class.
He
and
looked
then
really
his
good in that
other
fight.
2 losses were Leon Edwards, so it's like it looks bad if you just look at the red on his Tapology, but at the same time,
Yeah.
you can make a case for it.
Absolutely.
But I felt like Leon Edwards, just because he had the fight in the middle of the night, he had like a lot of issues with that fight camp and just
Yeah, he was sleeping.
Yeah, he was asleep.
Have you guys ever had to do like a fight
Sleepy.
card like that where it was odd hours and it wasn't?
Yeah.
You guys weren't time adjusted.
I haven't. I've fought abroad quite a few times, and it completely wrecked me.
It's awful. Right?
It's awful. Fighting in Berlin was really hard. Fighting in Japan was really hard. Like it's really challenging to adapt in less than a week to that kind of sleep schedule. It just
Would it mess with your weight cut too?
not necessarily the weight cut, but I mean I'm awake when I'm supposed to be sleeping.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, get the wheels turning and
Get the recovery you need, right? Before
yeah,
you
for
fight.
sure.
I kind of looked out the one time I fought with a really different time zone was New Zealand, and we fought in the morning, and it was probably my best fight day ever because I didn't have time to get scared. I didn't have time to get nervous. I just woke up and it was like, okay, check-in time. Yeah, exactly. Scarfed down some breakfast real quick and went to the arena. I was out of the arena by noon. So that was like my best experience. But I think it was the same time that I'd be like fighting in the U.S. So I feel like I lucked out with that. But I've never had to fight at the time that I've been sleeping. I don't think.
At 4 a.m. on your own time zone. That's so crazy.
That would be rough.
Oh, could we ask you about this? So you did a post recently talking about the USADA drama, right? There was a lot of words I didn't understand. I mean, when you're trying to read up about everything, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So could you explain the whole 4-year thing that happened, like your whole situation with USADA?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I want to.
Do you have time?
I want to hear it all.
I was like looking at your record, I was like, wait, there was a time where like, where did Jessica go? I completely forgot about that, and you won 2 in a row, and then had an amazing post-fight speech where you're emotional. I was like,
no, it was so frustrating. So I was one of the first, I was the first fighter in the UFC to get popped for a performance-enhancing drug, which it wasn't even. So what I did was I was recommended DHEA by a doctor, and I really hadn't even been taking it, but I wrote it down on my intake form. Anytime you are drug tested, you can claim supplements, and this just helps them track it. And if you did in fact like pop for something, they could see if it could be a attendant supplement or anything like that. So I unknowingly took something or wrote something down that was in fact on the banned list, and that was DHEA. I was suspended for 18 months for that. I had doctors, I had USADA backing me. Like everybody knew that I was not intentionally cheating, but I was the first person that USADA could be like, hey, look, we're doing our job. We're doing a great job. We're busting fighters. They ran me through it. And they released this press release that said, my name tested for an anabolic. We found her through
the profile,
blood mapping or biomapping, or they made it sound way.
It's like I submitted it.
I ratted myself out. I told you. You did not do that. And so it was really hard, and there's always going to be an asterisk by my name for that, and it was very overwhelming and very heartbreaking. And now people that have taken that have had 6 months of a suspension, but they suspended me for 18 months because they know it's not an anabolic. It's not something that is really going to enhance your performance. So that was really frustrating. And then I was scheduled to fight after 18 months, and I popped my ankle. I dislocated my ankle partially warming up for a fight in Arizona. That was heartbreaking. And then the second one was going to basically retire me. So I got really sick, and I was about a month out from fighting. And my coach at the time, who is a fireman and EMT, he came over and he gave me a B12 shot. And I think that is what was tainted, but he didn't have a backup supplement to test. If you don't have something to test, if you don't have a supplement to test, you can't prove that it was a tainted supplement. Oof. So again, the UFC was like, well, we know, because it was like the smallest amount, it was a picogram amount. We know that because I was tested a week before and there was nothing in my system. And then I was tested again and there's this little amount in my system. So they knew that I was not intentionally cheating, but there was in fact, something in my system that said that, or that wasn't supposed to be there. So we went through all of these meetings with USADA, and they're like, no, we're going to retire you. It's a 4-year sentence unless you can tell us who's really cheating in the UFC. If you can tell us, you can blow the whistle. So again, this is my tinfoil
Angela Hill.
I'm like, have you seen that girl?
Why didn't USADA show up
so thick? Have you seen how beefy she is? Her cardio is way too good. I was like, listen, I've never intentionally cheated in my life. I do not know anybody who's cheating, and even if I did, it's not my thing.
Yeah, you ain't no snitch.
I'm not going to do that, but they just tried really hard to put me through it. And
politics.
That's some crazy shit. They're like, okay, we'll let you slide if you rat somebody else out.
So
it's the mob shit.
So there's a lot of and the guy was like, the guy who was running this meeting was an ex-police officer. So I literally felt like I was the scum of the earth criminal. Like, it was awful.
Did he have the spotlight?
Basically, I was sweating like there was. I was like, what are you talking about? I was crying. I was a mess. Like, I was really a mess. And my coach who gave me the B12 shot, he came in and he tried to speak his piece. They're like, well, if there's nothing to test, you can't prove it, so you're going to be suspended anyways.
Oh my God.
Was that before or after John Jones moved the
That was
entire
before.
card?
Okay.
Yeah, that was before.
I
don't know
feel
when
like it might have been.
It might have been after.
It might have been before. No, it was before, because I remember that happened and they said picogram. We were like,
yeah.
That was.
We know what a picogram is.
I went to that bullshit.
like, wait.
The UFC themselves, they, acknowledged that they knew I was not intentionally cheating, but they have no control or say-so with USADA. USADA was just its own entity, and the UFC couldn't really do anything. For me, because I'm not a needle mover. For other people are different.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've seen. I've seen... that's, again, my tinfoil moment. My other tinfoil moment is after that meeting, realizing what they were saying about they don't test for certain things like EPO, or there are some things that are just really expensive tests and they don't test everybody individually. And then I was reminded of Dillashaw, who popped for EPO. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, you know what? He pissed somebody off. Somebody in his camp or an ex-teammate or something like that ratted him out.
Holy shit.
We just had him on last week and explained it all to us.
Yeah.
Really?
We're kind of lining it up a little bit.
Holy shit.
We're taking down the UFC with this podcast.
I'm sorry.
Well, not even drug tests in the UFC anymore.
They're gone.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
They're gone. Yeah.
Wow.
Take down USADA.
They finally tried to mess with the needle mover. They tried to mess with McGregor.
Yeah.
And
Don't you ever do that.
yeah, exactly.
He's doing coke. Leave him alone.
It's fight. It's not fight enhancement.
Yeah.
He's just funnier on Instagram Live.
He's going to crash harder. Never going to wake up from that hangover.
It was just it was a really hard time in my life. And I feel like, I look back and it was a very hard time to get through.
Was there any apology from USADA or anything like that?
No.
They didn't never apologize for
What about
nothing.
They basically took your living away.
What about who?
Jeff, was he
Not really.
just kind of
Really?
like,
Not
even
really.
Jeff? Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot. Donna had my back though.
Oh, Donna's a good one.
Yeah, Donna's a good one.
good egg.
She's an amazing lady, but there was just nothing that they could do. So I just had to take it on the chin and deal with it. And I look back and I try and find the silver lining in it. And I did other things. I got to work on myself, as we were talking about earlier. There's a lot of aspects in MMA that are very mental, and I was definitely not in a great place, like mentally and emotionally. I had a lot of stuff to do, so I took that time off to work on myself and other things. So I do appreciate that opportunity. It's just it happened to be during my peak competitive career years. But it is what it is.
But you did come back and you won
I
2 in a
did.
row, which
Yeah.
is amazing. So
Yeah, that was a hard one. And then had more layoffs with injuries and stuff like that. And it's been really tough. There's been a lot of character building.
that's awesome.
And I feel, we always ask too. It's just like kind of like the after fighting for a lot of fighters is always difficult, right? Because this is like something you've done your whole life. Like this is what you look forward to. These are your goals. These are your aspirations. And then, something like this happens or Father Time happens, and then it just has to go in. Then if you don't think about your future, because you're only thinking about the present right now, because you go too far ahead, you got to worry about these fights.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's next? Because I think my biggest thing was when I heard an interview of Dominic Cruz about what he went through because of all of his injuries.
Yeah.
And he went through a serious depression, and he had to go find out like the value of what the belt meant to him versus his own life, and he had to go ahead and figure that out. Uriah Hall talked about that as well. And so it's just like, that's what my curiosity goes. It's like, how do you, because I'm not dedicated to anything like that. Like if anything else, it's like I don't know what that would ever feel like to like give your all into something and just have it taken away like that. It's like, well, what do we do now? So for you, what has your transition been like after?
So during my last injury, I was out for, over a year. I had a broken sesamoid, and that one was by far the hardest thing to come back from because I was completely laid out. I could not be on the mat. I couldn't be barefoot like for over a year. It was really challenging. So in that time, I went and got my real estate license. We started focusing on the podcast, still just trying to figure out other things that I can do, and just realizing that if I keep getting injured, it's just taking so much time and space away from me in the sport, and I have to start, thinking about what I'm going to do afterwards. So that's kind of what I did during this last layoff from injury.
And you never thought about going to, I always ask this, but it's like coaching is not an aspect for you?
No, I love coaching. It's just I was coaching a lot, during my suspension. I was doing a lot of seminars, I was doing a lot of coaching, and I really enjoy it. It's just during my career as a fighter, I don't think that works well for me. So afterwards, I can look into coaching. I can look into other things, but I want to diversify.
Okay.
Let me get the fuck out of
I want to
fighting.
do many things. No, I love MMA. I love this sport. I've been in it for, nearly 20 years. It's a huge part of my life. But like talking about what, Dominic and Uriah Hall were talking about, I had a lot of attachment to it just to being a fighter, and that's not all who I am. It's a huge part of my life. I think I'll, always have that fighting spirit. That's what makes me who I am, but I just have to figure out, other things when I can't compete anymore.
Yeah. Man, fuck USADA, huh?
No, they're the worst. No, they're awful. They're awful.
Damn, bro, that pisses me off.
Yeah, that's so
most of the people that they were catching were people that were not intentionally cheating.
like Nick Diaz, right? That was the big one.
Oh, that was heartbreaking. That was awful.
5-year layoff.
That was
so
ridiculous.
crazy.
5
Like
years.
but that was
marijuana.
Nevada, right?
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Oh, is
I
that
think
Vada?
that was Nevada, like the weed thing, right?
For fucking weed.
Yeah, and now it's legal.
Yeah.
If anything else, that hinders you.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's crazy because I just saw the article where they, because of new rules, they rescinded John Jones's one loss.
Oh.
So they reversed that.
So now he's undefeated?
Now he's undefeated.
Oh,
but you
did
can't
they
reverse.
reversed it?
Yeah, they reversed it. I just saw that.
So
Yeah.
Dana has the greatest
who was it,
fighter
Mark Hamill?
in the world.
Yeah.
Oh,
Matt Hamill.
Matt Hamill.
Mark
Not
Hamill.
Yeah.
Mark
That's
Hamill.
that's Star Wars.
Yeah, my bad.
Skywalker.
Matt Hamill.
Skywalker.
He was so mad. He was like, I was the only guy that beat John Jones.
Yeah, and now it's
Now it's
gone.
nothing.
But you can't like roll back the hands of time. You know, you suspend somebody, they can never get those years back. So it's rough when the times finally, or the rules finally catch up with the times, and then you can't give that back to a fighter that lost something from it.
Like Peter Yan and Aljo, is that overturned? No, no way. No, that's still the same.
I mean, that was still illegal. That's still he was on his knees. Like
Didn't read the new rules.
That knee was terrible too. That his whole head snapped back. It was like
he was literally on his knees, beheaded him.
He's like, shit.
You can't knee here. He's like, all right. He's like, I got you.
He didn't say it in Russian. Boom. You know.
Oh man.
It's a language barrier.
Do you guys know who Craig Jones is?
Yeah.
The jiu-jitsu guy? So this just came out. I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Everyone here. Craig was, as he likes to travel and have a good time, he was in Colombia, and this dude got drugged at a bar by the Devil's Breath. So actually with the founder of this building as well, his name is George Kimmel, also was drugged when he was in Colombia, where it's like...
Of course George would get drugged.
It happens to a lot of white men that like to party.
Big, tall white guys.
So, yeah, he was just at a bar. Two dudes handed him a drink, and he said, let's party. Drank it. And
that's crazy.
His partner of CJI, Seth, his business partner, he took his drink. So Seth didn't drink his, and he double shot 2 beers of drugged Devil's Breath.
What is Devil's Breath exactly?
I forgot what the name is, but it's something that you basically forget everything. Oh, here it is. Scopolamine.
You said accept your PIN number.
Scopolamine? Scopolamine? What is that?
I don't know. Something
so it's like
you saw it with Pop before.
It's something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's from a fucking tree, he said.
It's from a tree in Colombia. So they do this to tourists a lot where you're in Colombia, dudes are like, hey, you want to keep partying? And then they just give you this drink and they take you to a motel and they take your passport, wallet, and all your money.
Oh,
and you wake up like George who owns this
I
place.
thought it was the butthole who was going to take instead of the passport.
Yeah, cherry.
Papi, you can have your passport, I don't care. Let me get that ass, though.
But George,
The only way you could take it from Craig Jones. Like, his jiu-jitsu's too good.
passport gets a stamp butthole.
No.
But George, the partner here, he said that he woke up after. He just remembered talking to 2 guys, woke up in a motel, and was covered in his own pee without his passport.
That's hilarious.
They're all like, because we know this guy. He's
okay.
That happened to George?
You'll see him
Did
after.
he deserve it?
He's a sweet, sweet boy.
He's a sweet man.
Dude, George not telling the whole story. They definitely got in that ass, dude. George got his ass taken. You hear that, George?
Hope you hear me.
But yeah,
George.
it's crazy, man. Like,
So did his friend end up saving him?
yeah, because he didn't get into the alcohol. He realized, man, why does Craig keep falling over? And then he was like,
would
oh,
never
shit,
take
you
alcohol.
He's Australian. He's like impervious to
Exactly.
alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, they do not get drunk.
No problem there. But yeah, I don't know why people take open drinks in foreign countries or just even here.
Yeah.
Weird.
Maybe those guys had a good vibe. You don't know, dude.
Yeah.
My bad.
There's no fucking way I'm taking a free
No,
drink
thank
like that.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
That's
think
terrifying. That's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet that happens in Australia all the time, though. You're at a bar and you're having fun and people buy you a drink. Like, hey, come on. I know who you are. Let's party.
Have you guys thought about doing any speaking of, Craig, have you guys thought of doing any like jiu-jitsu tournaments?
Little CJI.
Now? Little
Yeah.
CJI. Have you guys done
Super
them before?
fights?
I
Super
did ADCC.
Oh, shit.
But then I lost. It was the trials, and I didn't understand the point system, so I got like a negative point.
She's like kneeing people.
Yeah.
This is not my die. Please stop.
It's like I'm beating everybody.
Yeah.
Have you been doing competitions? Any super fights?
I haven't competed in jiu-jitsu since I was a brown belt, but it hasn't been from lack of wanting to. It just really hasn't worked out because I've been injured a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to start doing jiu-jitsu again and just like, have fun with it.
Yeah.
Worlds is coming up.
I have to have points though.
Huh?
Do that.
Oh,
in
just do
Worlds, you
World.
have to have points. So
Oh,
I would have had
yeah,
to have
because
like
you're black belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid.
See, I can sandbag all I want. Still a purple.
Before we go to
That
these
might
picks,
be.
can I ask you guys what you thought about the Rose fight?
Oh, Blanchfield.
Rose
I thought she won.
Kind of divided on that.
Yeah, I thought Rose
Ooh.
won.
a lot of people did.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I heard that a lot of the headlines were like Erin Blanchfield beats Rose Namajunas by a large margin. And I watched the
was not a
fight.
large margin.
Yeah, like she won the
it
first
was
2, maybe the 4th
Very
round.
decidedly, yeah.
Well, maybe the 5th round. Like, I think those are toss-ups.
What do you think about her staying in that weight division? Do you think it's a good idea for her, or do you think she should go back down?
I think if she wants to. I mean, we did an interview with her, and she was really happy to start, acclimating to that weight class. I think that, she does have the frame for it. I think it's just going to take a little bit more time for her to get up in size, but her technique is there,
I think that was the hard part when I was watching the fight was like those first 2 rounds, she was so good, right?
She looked great.
But then the one thing that I noticed that even after all those shots that she gave Erin Blanchfield's face was completely fine. And I think there's a power discrepancy in this new weight class for her. Because she was landing overhands. And when I saw the overhand hit, the head wasn't snapping back. There wasn't really a lot of damage. So I think like skill-wise, she was beyond, obviously in the striking. It was just she was substantially better. I just thought that her shots would have been a little more powerful to make it a little more difficult for Erin.
Well, I mean, they were against Tracy Cortez. I mean, Tracy Cortez is bigger than Blanchfield, for sure.
Okay.
And it takes a lot of snap to knock off an eyelash.
Yeah. That's right. Can't believe they allowed that. I was like, they have those things?
You got the falsies
fly out the
and
octagon.
the naturalies. You got all of it. It all ripped off.
You guys wear eyelashes in fights?
No.
I did it once.
No.
Was it hard to fight with those or what?
I did it once, and I felt real cute until I got I felt real cute until I got punched in the eye, and I thought she punched my eyelash off, but I think she just like got a knuckle in my eye, and then
okay, we're done.
Yeah. No, the day after, I had like red in my eye for the first time in a fight, and I'm like, ooh, I bet that lash had something to do. Like I bet that hard eyelash just like poked my eye a little bit more than it would have normally. But I don't think Rose is undersized. Like, you look at this fight, it looks similar to her second fight with Andrade. She's landing with the same force. She has to come in and out because someone is coming in with a heavy grappling pressure. I think with Fioret's like bigger than most flyweights anyway.
Kind of jacked too.
Yeah, and I wonder. I think she's gonna look bigger than Shevchenko because like Shevchenko is a pretty natural flyweight. Like he walks around pretty close to her fight weight. So I don't think she's undersized. I think she's just getting used to what those girls bring to the table because with strawweight, there's a lot more competition.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more girls at that weight class. That's why we say atom weight would be competitive because there's a lot more girls at 115, a lot more girls at 105. And then flyweight, you win 2 fights and you're in the top 5.
Yeah,
So I think that's why she feels more comfortable there because she doesn't have to cut weight. She's able to go in there feeling pretty close to what she trains at. And like the girls aren't that tough. She just can't end up underneath them.
We might see Blanchfield Grasso next. Is that what we're going to see maybe?
Calling her out, right?
Because that's what
Yeah,
she
that's
called
what
out
she
for.
called out. I mean, I'm not mad at that fight.
That's a sick fight.
I think that's a
Yeah.
good fight. I think that's a good fight for Blanchfield.
Grasso hit hard, dude.
Yeah,
her fucking
she's
hands.
legit.
I think her nose is gonna get messed up, but at the same time, like her striking looked a lot more fluid against Rose than I thought it would be, and I think Rose is a little harder to hit because she moves more. So if anything, Grasso stays in the pocket. She doesn't really move her head when she punches. She moves her head before, but when she attacks, she's right
in the
there
middle,
to hit.
yeah.
Same with Aldana. So I think if anything, striking wise, she might be easier to figure out. It's just a matter of how bad is it going to be if she gets hit in the face.
What'd y'all think about Moreno's boxing? Brandon
Oh,
Moreno.
he looked so good.
What was that? I was like,
His-
who
his
is this man?
sticking and moving. No, he looked really good. He looked very fluid. He looked really comfortable. He made it look really easy.
It looked like a hard sparring session for him. Like the way he was just, I was like, who is this guy?
He's in flow state.
He looked mean.
Yeah, it was insane just watching him. I'm like, oh shit, he had like a little Max Holloway moment there, huh? The best boxer in the UFC.
Maybe not today.
Maybe not tomorrow. Someday.
Maybe not today.
He's such an easy guy to root for. You know,
Oh,
he's so
all day.
like,
You can't hate the guy. He's so
so-
no,
wonderful.
he's a wonderful.
Yeah.
He plays with Legos and stuff.
My favorite thing about him.
Loves his wife.
All right, we like to do our picks here. UFC 309. We'd love to get your guys' insight. And just so you know, we always pick with our heart, and that's why we always
Lose.
lose. Yes, we
I
always pick.
always preface a pick with
This is a
my
hard
heart
pick?
says or my head says.
Okay. And we also have OG bias, where we just pick all the old fighters.
Yeah.
Back to back.
100%.
That's what we usually do.
I have that too.
Chinks, 2 straws.
We have it.
Oh, is that the?
It's a two straw synchronicity though.
It's
Yeah,
when
we
guys
do that
do
a
the
lot.
two
We do that a
penises.
lot. Yeah.
Hey, use the biggest finger though. Use the middle finger.
Guys, don't perpetuate the stereotype.
Don't bring out the pinky, dude. Fuck, man. It's like two straws. Yeah, two straws.
Yeah.
No. Like it's the bigger finger.
All right. I'm curious. First of all, this is the fight you guys like, Stipe, John, or were you hoping for an Aspinall situation?
I want to see Aspinall.
Thank you. A fighter can
I
say it.
do.
How about you?
But he deserves
I'm okay
Yes.
with Stipe. I'm okay with Stipe giving it because I like Stipe.
Yes.
I feel like he deserves to get a nice little retirement
Fat
fund.
check. Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
like
Yeah.
nice fat check, fat severance pay, and he can go off into, the sunset
All right.
feeling good.
You guys first. Quick picks before we get to them. John Jones, Stipe. This is it.
I'm going Jones, baby.
Yeah, you can't. It's hard to pick against.
I'm going for the
John
fucking
Jones.
sociopath.
He's too good at hurting people.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm gonna go John Jones.
That man got hate in his heart.
But no, for real.
Gotta go. John Jones.
I'm
Excuse
gonna pick Stipe.
My heart says Miocic.
You're
I'm-
hard. What do you think of the
I'm
path to
joking. I got
victory
Jones.
My heart says, no.
Yeah.
I would love for Stipe to win, but I think Jones is going to get it.
He's too scary right now.
When was the last time Stipe fought? It's been a hot.
Francis, right?
14 years ago.
Yeah, no,
Francis.
seriously.
4
It's been
years.
like 2 years.
It was like
It's more than that.
2019 or
Yeah.
2007.
It was like
Damn.
pandemic. Yeah.
I think it was like 2018. It's
Yeah.
the last time he won, at least.
Oh, that's right.
Did Stipe
Yeah.
just not want to fight, or what was the? Do you guys know the reason?
I don't know. Shit.
He's just like,
Hey, fighting fires, bro.
Yeah.
Got fires.
I used to think
Cleveland
Stipe
is
had
nice.
like a CTE. Then I just went back to his old interviews. That's just how he talks.
That's Ohio.
Leave him alone.
I just no, because he speaks so fast. He's mumbling. I'm like, oh, this is a lot of the shots to the head. And I went back like 10 years. I'm like, that's just Stipe.
Honestly,
It's the accent.
That's why we get in
Yeah.
trouble on this
Cleveland
podcast.
accent.
Cleveland accent.
It's okay. If Stipe wants to punch me, I'll love it. And I'm like, please.
So 2021.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, I was exaggerating, but still.
Oh my
long-
I mean,
God.
3 years.
That's a lot.
long
Yeah.
time.
And that Francis fight was scary as shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
He
way
made a
lost
little
him.
mistake. He thought he wobbled Francis,
Bro.
and he went in. It's like
The way he got KO'd in that fight was like, no.
Yeah.
It was so horrifying.
All right, official pick,
Such a good
casuals, two
heavyweight
straws, John Jones. All right, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler rematch.
Charles. Yeah.
How do you go against?
You're not going to take
Yeah.
Michael Chandler for plus 285?
I got Michael Chandler because he
Do
be
it.
adopted baby. Dude.
I'm saying, we always say
Get money.
Michael Chandler wins. He always adopts the babies.
Yeah, so
You got. Do you do it for the
adopt another
kids?
child.
I'm going Michael Chandler. Let's get some more babies.
Oh, man.
This is a bad matchup for him. I think Charles Oliveira, dude.
I go Charles on
But
this.
remember that
Are we
name.
forgetting that Michael almost had him the first fight?
He almost had the McGregor fight for sure.
Dude, Charles
I
almost
do
beat
wanna see
Armand,
that
dude, and
fight.
Armand's a beast.
Yeah.
He showed no weakness in his chin last
Yeah.
night, though. Charles Oliveira didn't. So that's why I'm thinking
Dog.
I go for Du Bronx, baby.
Ah, right,
he's going to be nice and healed up.
Michael Chandler looking
Fight
yoked,
Chandler.
though.
Yeah,
He is
yeah.
ridiculously buff. He's so fit. People are accusing him of doing a little steroids, but I think he's always looked like that.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean, he
always
had a lot of time. Always waiting for Connor. It's like, give me what Connor's using. We'll both pop. It's cool.
Connor Sada.
Yeah.
Huge now, dude.
Oh. Yeah. Top of the Turia.
Yeah, Tapaturo.
Where we got I don't know how to say her name.
Arujo.
Arujo versus Silva. Ooh.
I got Silva. She's dope. And she has an afro.
I mean, the hair alone.
Yeah, she won.
We'll call back to you, huh? Full hair. Flex. Jessica, who do you have on this fight?
Oh,
She's on
I
a nice little
mean,
tear, too.
Oh, that's a good streak.
yeah, she's. I think
been
she's going to
killing
be a
it.
lot for Arujo. Arujo has a little bit slower of a pace, and I think Silva might be a lot for her.
Yeah, I think she's just a little more special. A little more good at stuff.
Yeah.
Like more of a specialist at certain things.
Yeah,
Bo Nickel, not a Dagestan.
This is an interesting.
Look at the odds.
Dude, plus 650?
Oh, poor Craig.
Damn, that's disrespectful as fuck.
and he's been looking
wild.
good since he dropped down too.
I'm gonna put money on it.
No, never mind.
He's at
Everyone's
No,
like,
who-
Maybe for one
He's
fight.
at
for
some
one
tough
fight.
For the first fight, he looked
One
good.
of your
Yeah,
fight
no,
is
I'm gonna
tough,
have to
though.
go for Bo.
Bro, but look at the guys he's fighting. You know?
I mean,
Like,
he's
these
fighting,
guys are,
like,
the
top
best
tier.
guys. He beat Muniz. That was a big
Hey,
one.
he was one of the first tests for Jamal Hill. And he passed it.
He
That's
broke his
right.
arm,
Yeah,
remember?
the only one to break his arm.
David, who do you got?
I'm gonna have to go with Bo Nickel. Dude.
Bonical.
I think Bo Nickel. But dude, we could definitely see a Paul Craig triangle, dude. We
I
could
see
see
it.
that.
I might
pop
put
up.
money on that.
But I'm
The
sure Bo Nickel's
odds
gonna
are-
be-
Odds are great.
Yeah,
He's gonna
the
be ready
odds
for
are
it
like-
though. Bo Nickel's he's gonna be doing
I
triangle
think
defense.
just Bo is like the onset to the new era. So I just don't see him losing quite yet.
Yeah.
Especially like Paul Craig is always a toss up though. You don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Yeah.
He's either gonna lose in fantastic fashion or win in
Depends
fantastic
if he has the
fashion.
blonde hair.
Dude, that's our theory. When someone dyed their
When they
hair
go blonde, they get a hot
win.
Hey, Blonde Brunson.
Yeah, exactly.
He was on a tear.
He was on a tear. He only lost once, Blonde.
We never bet against him.
Blonde hair, man.
I got Craig.
Dude, Mauricio Rufy. He's a fight nerds guy.
Oh, this motherfucker.
I choose all fight
scared.
nerds.
Yeah, they're on
They're
the top
sick,
right now.
dude.
They're
Yeah.
fun. They're just
He's
fun.
sick.
And I don't really
No,
know this
they're a
guy.
hot team.
Lon Top.
Blonde.
Peru?
I don't
Very
really
blonde.
know him.
He's got a good. Does he have a teardrop?
Oh shit.
Oh, or is that just that's a cross?
That might make me change my pick a little
I
bit.
don't know if that's a shadow or a face tattoo.
Yo,
I
that's a
can't
face
tell.
tat. That's a
Is
dark
it?
face tat.
I'm not familiar with these two guys.
Rufy is like
Rufy's- yeah.
he's a really slick striker.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's pretty fun to watch. And he's one of the
He's
fighting
long,
nerds
yeah.
guys.
Oh, okay.
He's legit. I think
Yeah,
I'm gonna go
you're a
Rufy.
fight nerd.
Yeah,
They're
no, I'm a
dope.
big
He
fan
loves
of their
them.
team. Yeah,
They're
I'm a big
really
fan of
slick.
theirs.
His striking is pretty fucking
You know what I found
he's in
out,
and out.
or what I saw online? Those glasses are the Ray-Bans with the camera in it.
So they're just watching tape, huh?
They're
That's
just
what they're
so like
Wait,
so
what?
they get the glasses are
Yeah.
the Ray-Bans with the camera in it.
like the Facebook ones.
No.
What am I thinking?
That is what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
Meta.
Well, yeah, the
Oh.
meta ones. Like you press the button and it starts recording.
Illegal
So
streaming is what they're doing on.
that's what they're doing. No, because I saw this post where they were telling the guy, "Oh, hey, do the will kick. The will kick will work against this guy." And like the camera jumps from one person's glasses to the other person's glasses.
Whoa.
Then they show them in the corner wearing the glasses and they're watching their fighter win, and he hits the will kick, and then he puts the glasses on the fighter, and then they show the coach's face with the fighter
What the
wearing
heck?
right?
Cheating?
So
What
I'm
is
like,
this?
Yo,
That's like the PFL ref cam. That's
yeah,
like the
that's what they're doing. So I'm
The
like,
ref
if
kit.
you're ever in
that
the
shit.
corner with a fight nerds guy, watch out because like make sure their glasses aren't on because they're recording your ass.
EMP
They're-
grenade.
Yeah,
They're selling that footage. Just
scramble it, scramble. it.
Well, guys, those are our picks. Don't listen to Nick, David, or myself.
Unless
Whatever
you want to
they
lose your house and your wife.
my wife is like, stop spending money on
Well, David keeps getting these picks wrong.
Take the over.
Blame it on me.
And make sure you go to Dual Bits to make those bets.
Oh yeah, and
Dual
use
Bit.
code two straws, number two
Number
straws.
straws.
Get a little extra.
So tell us, you guys got Two Straws podcast presented by Dual Bits. Where can people go watch that?
On YouTube.
Great. You almost look like you didn't know where you could find it.
Why I didn't know she was going to
was
say it or not.
I know where it is. So we got the podcast. Can you guys give us a little insight into next fight?
Our next fights?
Yeah.
Um,
No? Is there any
no.
fights coming?
We're both in limbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're waiting.
Do you guys want to fight?
Yes.
Okay, that's what it makes you guys are so like
What are you
weird.
talking about?
What? It's mostly her. She keeps going, oh. She's cryptic. She's like, calms down. She's like, I don't know.
I smash brother.
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 We're thinking 2025 early.
I hope
Ideally.
so.
Ideally.
I hope so. Hopefully, I hear there's a LA card coming up, 311.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm hoping I could get on that. I've been bugging.
Who you trying to fight though?
Yeah, who you
Go
got?
call out. Let's call somebody.
Everybody.
Oh, everybody can
Look.
get it.
Everybody can
Look,
get
I'll
it.
take a look.
I'll make it
Yeah,
easy
Lima.
for you. How about we matchmake for you guys because you guys won't say anything?
Yeah.
Here we go. Ooh, here we go. All right, you can fight Tatiana Suarez. And you can fight Wei Li. Go.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Here's what we got.
I'd love to fight Marina Rodriguez.
Oh, that'd be a
That'd be a fun
banger.
one.
Yeah,
That'd be a really
Ibis
good
has
fight.
been on my list for a long time, but she's fighting
Ibis?
Dern in December. I asked for Yasmin Lucindo. She just jumped the line like a motherfucker because she beat Marina Rodriguez in a
Big
really
win.
close decision. So I'm like, man, I feel like I could beat her up pretty easily. But like most of the people on the list, I've already fought. So
She started it.
Sucks.
She started it.
I like it.
You start some shit talking. Act
That's
like you
not
don't
shit talk. That's just
That's
like,
facts.
confidence.
That's
Yeah.
just facts,
That's
dude.
just being a confident
We're gonna
black
clip
woman.
this. And
Yeah. Just like change the words a little bit. Your butt stinks. There
Yeah,
you go.
put like a beat behind it. Evil music. I could beat her ass.
Well, let's give a fight for Jessica. Let's do this.
If you could grapple anyone and
Oh yeah, let's even set that up.
like a Polaris.
Yeah, or like a PI, UFC PI event.
Yeah.
I swear to God, you're doing CJI. We're gonna make that happen. You're gonna do a super fight. with someone.
Ooh, or like a combat jiu-jitsu slaps.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Karate combat.
I mean, I think that would be super fun. I don't
Ooh,
know.
karate.
I don't know who it would be, but yeah, I would do that.
You did karate combat?
Grappling,
I mean,
right?
grappling.
Grappling.
Oh.
You know, I'm not a kicker.
I want to see karate.
I'm not a kicker.
I would love to see karate.
All right, I'm gonna say this right now: combat in the pit, grappling. Jessica versus Michelle Watterson.
That'd be
Oh,
fun.
that'd be fun.
Fun one.
Rematch.
You're gonna make the karate girl do jujitsu.
Yes.
Our homegirl win. It's gonna win. Hometown advantage.
It could be one of those ones where, like, they say, okay, first match we're gonna do jiu-jitsu, second match
DJ Rod.
karate. Yes, exactly.
Fourth round slap.
One FC
Yeah.
rolls.
Have you seen
yeah.
that?
Power
All the
slap?
ladies have been doing power slap. I saw Paige Van Zandt doing
Angela
power slap.
loves power slap.
What do
Oh
you think
my
about it?
God.
Give us your take
He
on
loves
power
Can we
slap.
judge you?
You
for
might
a
be the
second?
first
You're
UFC
the only
fighter I ever
person
say they
that
like power
likes it.
slap.
I don't
stop watching.
love it. I just went to one and I was like, okay, I get why it still exists.
It is fun to watch, kind of. But then
You went
feel
to
bad.
one?
No, just watching it, you're
Okay.
like, this is fun. But then when you see guys like their head bounce off the floor, you're like, oh, this is not that fun.
I
Because
just
they can't defend.
I could never imagine wanting to do that until I saw Paige Van Zandt do it. And it's literally like, if you just know how to tense your neck, you're fine.
Like that?
As a girl.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I think once you get to the big guys,
Bro, those guys
it
are so
doesn't
scary.
matter. It doesn't, that big hand is going to mess you
Is
up.
Paige still doing power? I thought it was just a one-time thing.
She just
She did it again.
Again?
She just did
Against
it.
John Dodson's
I'm
wife.
sure they're making it worth her while.
John Dodson's wife.
Yeah,
What
that's-
world
that's
are
how
we
they
living
promo
in?
it. That's how they promoted it. It was crazy.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, I had no idea until people were saying that. I was like, it's John Dodson's wife. And I was like,
Yeah.
what?
The fuck?
That's how I saw it because he posted about it. I was like, oh, all right.
I think she makes plenty of money on OnlyFans. What she got to get slapped in the face for?
She's on OnlyFans?
Diversifying. Paige.
Oh.
John Dodson's
No, not
wife.
John
I'm like,
wife.
what are they doing?
They're doing
Bible
a.
study. She should not be doing that.
Oh, my
Paige Van Zandt. She's been doing OF for a long time.
Yeah, she does very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. This was a pleasure.
Are we done?
Do you want to
We
keep
kick this
going?
out?
Yeah, you got to get out. You got to get out because you won't call anyone out. All right, we're trying to make clips for you.
Call someone out. Hurry before we have to.
I told you I want to do like a karate combat, or I want to do a CGI. I want to do a
CGI.
little slappy slap.
That'd be
Oh,
fine.
okay.
Okay, cool.
Paige
cool.
Van Zandt.
That translates differently though. Any of you
Ooh,
bitches can
yeah.
fucking get it. You understand?
She said that. She said
It
that.
doesn't fucking matter.
Jessica.
Everybody's on fucking notes right now.
Somebody
Fuck off.
spiked my coffee. I don't know what I'm saying.
Oh my God.
Dragon's breath.
Editor, just put what I said just over there.
Yeah. Put that Korean mouth on that face.
Yeah. It's not going to make any sense at all. My head's like 4 times the size of your head.
So make sure you watch Two Straws and give it up for them.
Hey.
Oh my God, that was so fun.